The Serbian Interior Ministry is working to take 90% of guns off the street. Two mass shootings rocked the small European nation, killing a combined 17 people, with one shooter being just 13, so not eligible to buy and own a gun anyway, and by a man who used an automatic weapon, which is already illegal in Serbia. So here and again, gun laws didn't work, and yet somehow that's the justification for even more such restrictions. All existing gun permits are now under review in their country and could possibly be revoked. And no new guns can be sold for a mandatory minimum of 2 years. Those are just some of the new restrictions. At least Serbians don't have the same level of absolute barbarous crime that the U.S. contends with on a daily basis, necessitating our need for being armed to have at least some chance of fighting back. I mean, our own president's telling us he wants to send F-16s after us. And when it comes to just crime, a country where pregnant moms sitting inside their cars in parking lots are gunned down by criminals who are carrying illegal weapons and are being spit back out into the street by progressive policies. That just happened in Seattle. Europe doesn't deal with that in the same way, and the independent self-starters already self-selected to migrate here over the centuries, leaving Europe to slide faster than us down the path to the nanny state. But this is stopping NBC News correspondent Richard Engel from telling his audience that this could be the model for America moving forward. He then nastily quipped that Serbia is doing more than just offering thoughts and prayers, a mockery of God in times of tragedy. Perhaps Engels doesn't have to wait with bated breath for too long, as we're now hearing about an IRS raid of a Montana gun shop. Is that what all those IRS gun exercises were about? Joining us now to discuss is John Crump, a special projects coordinator for Gun Owners of America and writer for AmmoLand. John, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So my eyes do not deceive me on this headline you have here at AmmoLand, right? That it was IRS agents, heavily armed IRS agents, and not ATF agents who were serving this warrant?
There was IRS agents. There was about 20 IRS agents. They were assisted by the ATF, but this was an IRS raid. They raided the gun store because they claimed that the owner has not declared millions of dollars worth of sales, which he denies. So the IRS agents showed up and they took financial records, and then they also took all the 4473s, which is the background check forms, which was not on the search warrant, and legally they were not supposed to be able to take. But the owner was told by the ATF that he must turn them over to the IRS.
That is strange. Why do you think, or why did the ATF tell him that he had to comply? And like you said, some of these documents were not even on the search warrant. So I think, didn't the ATF coordinator, senior coordinator, whatever his title was, supervisor, I think, he told the gun shop owner one thing, but then I think kind of backtracked to something else?
That is correct. At first, he told him what the law is, and you don't have to turn over the 4473s because they're not listed on the search warrant, and the IRS is not entitled to those forms. But then he backtracked after talking to the IRS and decided that the owner must comply with the IRS's demands to turn over the 4473s. And the owner didn't want to get arrested, so he went ahead and gave them the forms that they asked for, which is a very scary thing because it lists not only what he sold to people, but who he sold it to, the addresses, personal information, social security numbers, and any sort of identifiable information.
Does it almost seem like a phishing campaign that they were using one allegation? Like you said, the gun shop owner, he denies all those allegations about financial issues, but that they use that so they could kind of get the toe in the door, if you will, to kind of say, well, what else can we find here? And then use it as a phishing expedition to, I don't know, it seems like they always are trying to create basically a national registry of guns, even though that's illegal, they're not supposed to. But it seems like that's what it always kind of circles back to, would you say?
Absolutely. If you look at the number of gun shops that had their FFLs revoked, it's up 500%. And we have found out that there's nearly a billion records in Martinsburg, West Virginia, that has been digitally scanned into a computer system, which the ATF says is not a registry. But if you take a billion records and put people's names along with serial numbers of firearms, you can call it a registry or you can call it a searchable database. I choose to call it a registry because there's really no difference.